Here again with another Walking Dead Daryl Dixon episode review video, as I was able to watch the episode early on the Amazon Prime AMC channel. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching the Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you find out that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for those of you that don't know, I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. In fact, I've reviewed every single episode of The Walking Dead on this channel, the main Walking Dead show. I've reviewed and watched all The Walking Dead Dead City. I do watch all Fear the Walking Dead, although I haven't reviewed it. At least, maybe I reviewed a couple of them, but I haven't reviewed any more since then. I have yet to watch The Walking Dead World Beyond, and I have yet to finish Tales of the Walking Dead, although I probably will finish that, and I think I'm actually going to watch The World Beyond, just because, and of course, I'm covering the Daryl Dixon show, obviously, and I will be covering the Rick and Michonne and the Ones That Live show. So if you're a Walking Dead fan and you like all those shows, make sure that you're subscribed to the channel and Hulk smash the like button, leave me lots of comments, and follow me on Instagram. Let's talk about The Walking Dead. I'll put the link down in the description, but it's jdev27. So JDEV27 is my Instagram if you want to talk The Walking Dead. With that in mind, this will be The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1, Episode 3. The title of this episode is called Sera toujours, Paris. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. And just to forewarn all of you, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I mispronounce simply because it's in French and I can't necessarily say it correctly because I don't speak French, so I don't necessarily need to be corrected because it might not work even if you correct me. So eventually, hopefully I get it right. It might even take till the second season, so just so you know. But we start off, they've arrived in this town where they can potentially use a radio. The town, I have the closed captioning on for these episodes, and what they say versus what was on the closed captioning is completely different. So I don't even want to attempt to say what it was. Daryl gives Sylvia a rifle to protect the horse as they've arrived at this theater location. And the person at the theater is a little kooky. He has his own Walker Symphony. Culture lives, he says. And they went there to use a radio, and all he did was want to do this symphony thing. And I guess he broke the radio to be able to do his symphony or something like that. If that's what I got from it, I could be wrong though. And then there's a walker that approaches Sylvie and Laurent. Daryl and Isabel come back out because this guy at the theater was obviously no good. And we did it your way, and now we're going to do it mine. We're going to Paris, Daryl tells Isabel. So they arrive in Paris with awesome visuals. Daryl sees something familiar written on a car, and Isabel lets him know it's about Madame Genet's forces, and I can't pronounce the group's name. Daryl mentions to those that were listening that Jim Morrison of The Doors died in Paris as they pass his grave as they're walking in the cemetery area. And Daryl, Isabel, Laurent, and Sylvie are walking through a cemetery, and they run into a man. His name is Falou. That could be wrong, obviously, and him and his people have been waiting a long time to see Laurent. And they go to Falou's base, or his place, or wherever his people are at. And Daryl asks about having a radio there, right? And then Daryl has to ask about the radio again. And then come to find out they use pigeons to send messages. So it's just like in Game of Thrones, where the birds that Varys uses to get information and they send things back and forth. Yeah, that it could take a month to get a message back. So Daryl says that isn't going to work. And he's done. He's already filled his commitments. Falou's people can help Isabel out now, and he wants to take off. Laurent goes to talk to Sonia, whose husband died a few days ago, or was it a few weeks ago? Now I think it was a few weeks ago, and I put days by accident. I could be right though. And he talks to her, and she actually ends up opening up to him, she hugs him and acknowledges his presence, where nobody else was having any success with that. Cadron meets with Madame Janae. This is the first time he's actually talked to her or met her. I thought that they would already have knew each other, but no. He heard about her, and he's going to talk to her because of the information that he has. He lets Madame Janae know that the American Daryl survived because he plays the tape recorder thing, and he tells Madame Janae that he'll find Daryl, and she says he's hired. They're doing experiments also on walkers at Madame Janae's place. Different things that they're doing to test the walkers. It's pretty interesting. That's why I kind of want to watch World Beyond, because I know some of that stuff is explored on that show. I just heard bad things about it, and I know it's super slow, at least the first season. Daryl and Isabel end up going to Isabel's old place, and Isabel gets a bunch of pills and cocaine and stuff to use for trading, and tells Daryl she wasn't always a nun. She also gets a picture of Lily, Laurent's mother, for him. And Daryl tells Isabel he didn't do much thinking when the world changed, and she thought that he had done that. Isabel sees Amy, and I think it's pronounced completely different, but that was the girl that talked to her in the last episode before she left her apartment place. And she's now turned, and it's just heartbreaking with that. And then we have, which I think are acid walkers, but they could just be burners, start falling from windows of different apartments, and they get up and they're just creepy, scary walkers. And Daryl is able to use one of those acid walkers to help them escape that particular area. Isabel takes a last look at Amy. Very sad and touching, because like her arms are reached out to, like, you know, she's further away obviously, but her arms are reaching out like she kind of knows it's Isabel, but I don't think she really does, but it seems that way. And then Isabel ends up giving Laurent the picture of his mother, Lily, to him, and Laurent shows Daryl the picture of his mother. He's really happy about this picture of his mother. Falou takes Daryl, Isabel, Laurent, and Sylvie to a club in the catacombs. So where a bunch of people died at, there's also this club area, and it's pretty cool that they have that. I mean, Dead City had a bar, and now Daryl Dixon has a club area. And Daryl talks to somebody about trying to get back to America. His name is Bernard, and he ends up not really being much of a help, and Daryl punches him. And then Quinn shows up, and he tells, Isabel, it's been a minute. Of course, Quinn was in the last episode. That was, Isabel's love interest that, was driving them, and then she took his car with her sister. And Quinn tells Daryl that it's possible to get to America, as he's heard things. Laurent tells the singer that's at this club she sings very well, and she has an Eiffel Tower necklace, and he says someday he'll see the Eiffel Tower himself, because in the picture that he has, his mom is standing next to the Eiffel Tower. So now he wants to see the Eiffel Tower himself, and she gives Laurent the Eiffel Tower necklace. That was touching, nice gesture on her part. And then Quinn takes Daryl and Isabel to his office. Quinn offers champagne to Isabel, and she tells him she outgrew it. She also tells him she became a nun. And then during this conversation, Quinn claims to be Laurent's father. So according to him, he had something going on with Lily that Isabel wasn't aware of, I think, unless there was something that was already talked about there. And because of this, he basically says he wants Isabel back. I think that's what was said. I could be completely wrong, but Daryl says fuck getting a boat from Quinn, as Quinn tells them what his terms are. Cadron shows up at the club, and his name's Madame Janae says it, but it's really fast, and I have no idea what's said, so I'm just going to call him Cadron now. But he shows up at this club and asks Quinn about Daryl Dixon. So Daryl tells Isabel that she really needs to stop lying to Laurent. And then Cadron actually arrives at Fallow's base, where Daryl and Isabel and Sylvie and Laurent are staying. So Daryl jumps to a building, and Cadron follows, and Daryl and Cadron actually go at it and start fighting. He thinks that Daryl killed his brother, which did he? I think Mary Bell actually killed his brother. No, maybe not. I don't remember who killed who, but he is out for vengeance because of that. And I feel like eventually him and Daryl might be on the same team. Just a hunch I have. And then as there's thunder crashing, the roof of the building that Daryl's on cracks and Daryl falls through, ending this episode. So good stuff. Now this episode I only watched one time so far. The other reviews I've done of the show, I've watched each episode twice just to kind of know a little bit more about it and know what's going to happen through the whole episode before I prepare all of my notes. But and again, of course, I had trouble with some of the names and all that. But I'm going to score this episode an 8.5 out of 10. Some of the stuff was really intense, like Cadron showing up in random 2 different places was pretty cool. So I'm going to actually give him the character of the episode just because. I could give it to Daryl or Quinn or Isabel, but I'll give it to Cadron at least at this point. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, or any other Walking Dead property and love The Walking Dead and want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing that like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon. What would you rate the episode, and whom, if you had to choose, would be your character of the episode? It's actually a little difficult because there's kind of... Daryl would be the character of every episode, but the other characters is what I want to kind of focus on, and I just thought Cadron was the most impactful, although he didn't get a lot of time. Maybe Isabel was the character, or Follow. I don't know. I'm just going off of what I think. What I'll do is I'll put my Walking Dead series finale review video right here and other Walking Dead videos there, and there. Check them out, the playlist. And last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button, subscribe to the channel you're watching the video anyway, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special, and JDev will return.